This episode of the Sensibly Cynical podcast is sponsored by SC Graphics. This company is incredible. They focus on creating, collaborating, and growing with each and every project, including the actual Sensibly Cynical logo. My boy at Seth CGC helps artists, creators, streamers, brands, and businesses with logos, visuals, print production, and special projects. He also provides free 30-minute consultations. Make sure you check out his website, scgraphics.co. Welcome to another episode of the Sensibly Cynical podcast. My name is Sean, and today I am set to be joined by the great Synthador. He is a musical luchador. He plays the mod synth. Please check him out, synthador.com. And here is my interview with Synthador. Enjoy. Synthador, what's up, man?
Woohoo, great to be here.
I had Ben the Glorious Bastard on, and he's from the New York scene. You're not in New York, right? Where are you located?
I'm just outside Washington, D.C. in Alexandria, Virginia.
Oh, yeah, I was in Richmond. Yeah, I got your message. Yeah, so you're working with, you're going to get a collab with Ari Vox?
Yeah, in fact, we've already been working on that. I connected with you and decided to do my homework and listen to her episode. And that was a great interview. And
she's something. She's great. I love Ari. She's awesome.
Yeah, so I wrote to her and said, I heard you on the podcast. That was great. And she said, do you want to do a collab? And she said, I'll send you some stems. So take some background vocals, make something completely
new. Yeah, she's jazz, synth pop. Yeah, she's into all that. That makes sense. So I really appreciate you doing this. This has been in the works for a while, so I appreciate your time today. We're talking briefly about wrestling. I mean, obviously, everyone knows Lucha Libre, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, rest in peace. Where in wrestling lore does your interest? Were you like 80s? Were you like the 90s stuff?
Oh yeah, the first superstar that really caught my eye was Junkyard Dog when he was feuding with Greg the Hammer Valentine. I went to the Anaheim Convention Center and I saw a bill that included a Royal Rumble. Actually, Bobby the Brain had to put on a singlet and get in the ring, maybe because somebody didn't show up. I don't know. Andre the Giant was there, and Nikolai Volkov, and you haven't lived in the 80s until you've been with 20,000 of your closest friends chanting, Russia sucks. So, quite the memory. And kept up with it for decades after that. Attended one of the WrestleManias at the Anaheim when Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels wrestled for an hour. They did Iron Man matches.
Yeah.
That was, I was there for that. Good times.
Do you actually wrestle yourself?
I have wrestled. I'm 1 for 1.
Oh, so you do so you're in a local, so you go a local independent.
EWA Maryland and Baltimore, and had a match against TJ Sykes, the Red Prince. What an incredible wrestler. He's super good. He goes around the nation.
How did you come up with the Synthador? What was the idea behind the character?
Well, I was starting to really get deep into my synthesizer music hobby and starting to get good, and thought maybe I would be able to play for other people, but I wanted to keep a separation between work and family and rock star. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to cover my face in some way, and how could I do that? Superhero? No, that's dumb. The Lone Ranger? No, that won't work. Masked wrestler? Okay, now we're talking. So I started thinking of a name. Luchador, Matador. So what do? I do synthesizers, Synthador. So you immediately jump on GoDaddy, and it was available.
What is it about the actual modular synth? I guess, is it an industry? Is it a hobby? Explain what you think, like what your vision is about the synthesizer itself. Like, what's your thoughts on it?
Technology has made bedroom producing and making music at home more accessible than ever. Back in the 70s or 80s, there was a classic magazine advertisement from Moog Music that said, if you can own if you can afford a truck, you can afford a synthesizer. Back in those days, any sort of electronic music was a 5-figure proposition. Nowadays, though, you can go to your local guitar center and you can get a Korg Volca Beats.
Guitar Band, those games and stuff,
Yeah, and it's so much fun. It's the perfect mix of creativity and technology.
Do you find younger people getting into the community, or is it an older, or what's people from all walks of life get into it?
All of the above, and that's what's so great is the different perspectives. Definitely. A lot of young DJ producers get in, and they go really deep in genres like trap and dubstep and produce some incredible stuff and mix in with DJ set of other people's music. And then old fogies like me, we try to capture the awesomeness of Pink Floyd, Keith Emerson, Tangerine Dream. We're trying to go back.
So what is it about that genre that intrigued you specifically? Like, was there something that was like, all right, this is kind of cool. I like doing this over and over and over and over again.
My biggest influence is the soundtrack to classic horror movies. Obviously, John Carpenter is the best example. Those synthy soundtracks, as you know, the killer is approaching, and you hear a synthesizer, bam, bam. It's always been an inspiration to me. And when I found that I could start gathering those tools, analog is best, and start making those sounds and going in my own direction, it was very inspiring to me, and that's what I like to do.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to the wrestling. When did you first train, or did you train?
One form of training is watching, a lifetime of watching and imagining yourself doing it. When I decided to actually get in the ring, I started out searching YouTube for basics of wrestling and really found a lot of great videos, how to come off the ropes, how to do an arm drag takedown, set up for a body slam. All those things were right there, so I had it all in my head. And
did you research local schools?
Yes, and it was during earlier this year, 2021. So we were kind of coming out of the pandemic. Getting vaccinated was a milestone, so I was able to finally say, "Hey, I can grapple and breathe in your face, and I'm vaccinated, so that's okay now."
Yeah.
So that worked out, and that was a hell of a night and hell of an experience.
Yeah. So do you see yourself doing that just like a one-off match every once in a while?
Yeah, every once in a while.
When the money's right, Synthador? When the money's right.
They say professional wrestling, so...
I know we briefly talked about like some influences, but who do you think is the greatest wrestler of all time?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So many different criteria, but as far as legacy and presence, I gotta go with Andre the Giant. He was such a great guy, such a great presence in the ring, the locker room, and life. And it always brings tears to my eyes when I hear the story that he always had a VHS tape of The Princess Bride in his pocket at all times, even when he was sitting on the airplane chugging 99 beers and not even drunk.
Like, when I was really into wrestling, I remember him, and he would do those chops, So have you taken any chops to the chest yet, Synthador?
Oh, yeah, plenty. And there's a sting, yeah. There's a sting and a thunderous clap.
Hold on. So what do you have more fun doing? Do you have more fun? You have more fun taking a body slam or giving a body slam, or on the synth just hanging out?
Yeah, taking a body slam. It's quite an experience. You usually get up from one of those.
Well, the synthesizer that can get you drained, huh?
Very close by outside the ring, there just might be a synthesizer. See, I can do my own entrance music. And,
oh, yeah, that's cool.
And then if anything happens to the ref, I just might borrow that synthesizer as an international object and maybe help get a leg up.
So do you got any fun stories, either on the road before COVID or recently? Anything fun you can share?
Sure. So I was planning a trip to El Paso, Texas, and I reached out to some contacts, and while I didn't get into the ring, I was able to do a concert at a great local art gallery, played a great set, and that was really super. Had a great time down there, and then was able to come back, do another outdoor set here in DC at the first ever Modular on the Mall. So I can say I played on the National Mall.
That's awesome.
And do all of the above in the mask. Never take off the mask. Anyone asks, the answer is you can take it off me in the ring.
Yeah, I remember Rey Mysterio used to have those mask versus mask matches, you know,
yes.
or mask on the pole, or you know.
And I have to say the mask itself was designed by an El Paso, Texas artist, Misael Arbadaris, who's really awesome. So this is custom, just me. I'm the only one.
Where are you from? Are you from Virginia originally?
Grew up in Southern California, joined the Army, took me to El Paso, Texas, and then to the D.C. area, and then got out of the Army.
Oh, well, thank you for your service. I know Virginia is a big military state, as is majority of the states, but I know Virginia and D.C., it's big military.
Yes, proud to have served, happy to be out. A little aggravated lately about the developments in Afghanistan, having served there a year. But, you know, that's life, that's history, and we'll keep an eye on that situation.
You had a song with Chuck W. When did you meet him, and how did you guys meet?
You know, at the time, he and I were doing a lot of Instagram Lives, the camera on the synth and just playing for a half hour or so. And I would tune in occasionally. We started chatting, and then we kind of hit it off. And we've done one collaboration track that came out on his July 9th release, Anxiety Rock. It's a great album. Check it out on Spotify. My track is called Driving. And we started a little Discord group of like-minded synthesizer enthusiasts. Mm-hmm. And building those relationships within the synthesizer and modular synth community is just as much fun as playing out. Or
it's relatively niche, right?
Yeah, niche, but growing fast. The pandemic had a really interesting effect. Streaming live performances became really the only outlet. Instagram Live.
You can go on Twitter, right, in their Periscope. You can do, you can do a bunch of stuff.
A lot of Twitch, and then some good online promoters like Palacio Palace, Nick's International Virtual Garage. Mm-hmm. They would bring together, every week a group of performers, which would expose us to a whole new audience and even a global audience that if we before we're doing regional live shows, we would never have that connection. So even some friends through those sort of performances, being on a bill together, having a group chat the week before has really been great. And now I think we have the best of both worlds, where those sort of streaming online performances continue, but we are coming back to real venues and doing live shows for people. For
people that have no idea what a modular synth is, tell the people, how hard is it to play one of those?
You learn it fast. Imagine a big keyboard synthesizer with a lot of knobs, and they all do things that you learn. In a modular synthesizer, you can buy each one of those functions or build yourself with DIY kits and put together the exact configuration that you want. Mm-hmm. But even more than that, you can get very, very creative and put together very new and unique combinations to do things that no one's ever heard before. And a lot of the soundtracks that you hear on things like Stranger Things or the great movie It Follows are sounds that come out of a modular synthesizer. It makes it easy to make those kind of ambient, creative, new sounds that no one's ever heard before. Listen to Trent Reznor, a lot of Nine Inch Nails, the result of giant modular setups. Every time you hear something that is completely new and different, there's probably a modular synth involved.
Do you follow the EDM scene?
Yeah, genres are so interesting. One genre that's probably more aligned is IDM.
What's IDM?
I don't really like the name because it's intelligent dance music.
Okay, I don't know anything about that. All I know is electronic dance music, which everyone knows.
Yeah, and then breaking it down between,
dubstep, techno. I love all that stuff.
Within EDM, I would say techno is my favorite, alongside with acid house.
Thanks to Synthador for that Acid House remix. Do you listen to like the mainstream stuff like Marshmello and San Holo?
Yeah, I can enjoy that stuff. I like to go back to kind of the roots with just a Roland 909 and a 303, making that very squelchy kind of old school acid house.
What's your thoughts on the DJ lifestyle? Do you think they get enough credits for what they do?
Yeah, on one hand, the art of putting together a DJ set is very, very deep, and it's not something that just anyone can do. No matter what that episode of Portlandia said, where it's like it's like Night of the Living Dead, where everybody's coming out saying, "Hey, come to my thing tomorrow. It's a DJ thing." Okay. But no, when it's done well, in a party setting or a club setting, it's the most important thing, and it keeps everything going. And that doesn't happen by accident. Not only picking the sounds, picking the tracks, but elevating it to the next level with original or live-produced material in real time is just something that is fun to do and transcendent if accomplished well.
Mm-hmm. What is it about dubstep and EDM in general that you think draws people to it?
Creative use of new sounds. The signature sound of dubstep,
yeah.
is usually a wavetable synthesizer where different sound waves are available and the sound you hear sweeps among them. And when you're pitch it way down and turn the volume up, give it a little bit of distortion, then you get that huge wall of sound that goes great with the beat. And when that, flooded the marketplace, nobody had ever heard a sound like that before. And it was, I think still is, a great form of electronic music.
What do you see yourself doing in 5 years' time?
Well, my dream would be to do the score to an independent horror film. That was my original strongest influence. And every time I watch a new horror film, I'm always listening deeply for that synthy soundtrack. That's the dream. I still want to keep doing fun tracks, EP releases, album releases, playing out, and just getting out there. The dreams in music change. No longer is it get signed to a label. I don't want to do that. This is 2021.
I know. I was talking to somebody else, and I think Natalie's Ruby. That's another good interview I did. She was telling me the same thing. It's just like labels are just, nowadays they're kind of on their way out a little bit.
Things like doing your own promotion, doing your own streaming shows, things like that. Nowadays that's just what you do. Personally, as the individual independent musician, putting a label in the middle complicates that, and it's very challenging on the label side to monetize what's going on. Streaming revenue, you've got to stream unimaginable numbers to get an actual check. I don't know what the threshold is for Spotify to actually send you your check, but something like $13.
Yeah, it's some ridiculous pay cut.
It's kind of hard to get there. So I do it for the joy of doing it and for being part of the community.
And then you wrestle to get your real money, right, Synthador?
I wrestle to win.
All right, man. Well, where can people find your stuff?
Pretty easy. I am Synthador on all platforms. Most active on Instagram. Bandcamp is great because that's where you can order my 2 vinyl EPs, t-shirts. I have some upcoming streaming performances, Nick's International Virtual Garage for one, and keep an eye out for me there. All of the above, and synthador.com.
All right, Synthador, I really appreciate your time.
Likewise, this was a great conversation, and you run a great show.
There you go. The great Synthador. Everyone, check him out. His stuff is awesome. Please also check us out on Twitter at Cynical Sensibly, Instagram Sensibly Cynical Pod, and you can check out our Facebook group. Subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes. We need reviews. Thanks again to everyone who's listening, following us on Instagram, all that. It seems to be the same people every week, and for that I appreciate you. Coming up next on the podcast, I will be chatting with DJ Fever Boss out of New York City. I chatted with him over Insta Live not too long ago. I will have that up hopefully next week. Until then, take care.